Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Elias Castillo with EMC Outdoors, and today I'm going to be featuring my dad. And today is a very different video. I'm going to be showing you the types of fruits that grow here in my home country of El Salvador. I am located in the state of Ahuachapan, and I am actually in the property where my dad comes to overwinter. He comes here every winter, and he has a few fruit trees around his house. This is a very small patio that he has, but we are pretty lucky and we have bought properties all around this neighborhood. So we're going to take you around to the different properties, and we're going to show you what living off the land, not entirely, but what we grow here. And this is a special video for me because this is how I got started in gardening. It was by watching my grandma, watching my dad, and watching my uncles grow a lot of their own food. And this is the story behind my channel, because this is how I got inspired to start my own food forest. So if you enjoy it, please give it a like and please subscribe to the channel. It's gonna be half English, half Spanish. I'm gonna try to translate some of the stuff that my dad is saying. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. So this is my dad here. Say hello.
Hola. Hello.
So we have this small green banana here, and it's growing in a very small patch of dirt, and it's a native banana here, and you can see it is green, but it's so interesting because it is ripe. I do not know this type of banana, but we have a lot of these here and they are super ripe. ¿Cómo está la banana?
Una banana muy deliciosa. Orgánica.
It's a very delicious and organic
Está
banana.
verde,
It's green,
pero ya está madura, su color es verde.
but it is ripe.
Y se puede comer cortándolo del mismo
Yeah.
racimo.
So the trick is, if you cut this thing at once, it will all ripen all at once. So what we're doing here is we're harvesting from the tree as we want to eat them, because we don't want them to get overripe. So it's pretty easy to keep your bananas without getting too overripe. We also have here a papaya tree. So my dad has built this little bamboo thing here so that he has a little bit of shade. But we have a papaya tree here that is growing, and there's a ton of papayas here. So he's gonna cut one right now. Oh, that's a good size one.
Esta es una fruta que se llama papaya. Creo que todo El Salvador la tiene, pero estamos ahora en Cara Sucia, en el departamento de Ahuachapán.
So this is a fruit that is called papaya, and we are located in Ahuachapan, El Salvador.
Y tenemos un pequeño árbol aquí en casa.
And we have a small tree here in our house.
Tiene como unas 50, 60 papayas.
It has about 50 papayas. You can't see them really, but they are pretty loaded up there. Yep.
Es una fruta netamente orgánica.
It's an organic fruit. No chemicals or anything added.
Exacto.
Yeah.
Entonces, esta papaya está lista para cortar. Le cortamos acá, aquí, y después de 3 días va a estar buena para comer.
So he's saying we're going to cut this piece here, we're going to cut this piece here, and make some little incisions with a knife to let it ripen on our counter. Okay, so now we are in my property. Actually, my dad and I share this property. And we have planted a lot of fruit trees in it. It's kind of small, but we have planted a few different fruit trees. So in my property, I have planted this cashew tree. And right now it's kind of young. It's only 2 years old. And this was a seedling. So this is the cashew fruit right here. And what we eat in the United States is this little part, and it gets roasted over a fire, and then you eat the nut that's inside of this. But in El Salvador, we eat this little part here as a fruit, and this is just a bonus. So we have it backwards in the US. This is so perishable that it doesn't make it onto a truck and make it to the States. But if you ever have a chance to travel to a tropical place, you should eat this part. It's so good. This is a 2-year-old tree and is already producing, and it's about 12 feet tall. And we have 2 of them in the property. And this one over here is also a cashew tree. And it has a ton of flowers. And it's too bad because I won't get to eat any of these fruits this trip. But hopefully I'll come back one of these summers and eat some of these fruit. So in this property, we have a lot of bananas. And my dad planted these banana plants here from his property just down the road here. So we're gonna cut this little bunch here. I think I see it right up there. And it has it has 2 bananas that are already ripe. They have turned yellow. And that's how we know that they're ready. So my dad is gonna take down this plant and then we're gonna talk about the fruit itself.
Vamos a cortar este racimo de banana. Este se llama banana manzanito.
So this little banana thing is called apple banana.
Aunque parece igual.
And that one that's right there, it looks the same, but
es diferente.
It's different.
En México se llama banano macho.
So in Mexico they call it. Okay, so we cut down the plant. So once this thing is ready, you have to cut down the tree itself. And then we're gonna take this one because it's not in our house. Otherwise, we could eat just the ripe ones that you see here. And I'm gonna show you this little thing here. I'm not sure, but it probably has about 50 bananas in here. And they are pretty good size, pretty heavy. So we're gonna cut one and do a taste test. Okay, so we're gonna try this banana. Look, you turn it like this, turn it back, and it falls right off. So this banana, it's about, I don't know, maybe 5 inches. This is my hand here. So about 5 inches. And you can see these at the Asian grocery store, and they're pretty good. But the problem is they cut them very green, and they don't ripen the right way when they make it to the United States. But these here, from the vine, are so delicious. Look, it's crazy. It's pretty good. I think it needs a few more days to ripen off once we have it hanging at the house. But it's pretty good. Better than any store-bought banana I get in the United States. This tree behind me here, we call it capulín. And I'm gonna have to research what the name in English is, because I know that this tree actually grows in Florida. And it gives you this little fruits like this. And they get pretty red and plumpy. And they're pretty sweet and tasty. So we're gonna look up the name and put it in the subtitles there so you can see. So these are them right here. They're actually not ripe. Probably a few more weeks before that gets ripe. But the tree is loaded. This tree right here is called a nance. It's not the time when it produces. It'll probably start fruiting in about 2-3 months. And I'm also gonna look up the name for this one. It looks like a cherry, and it does have a pit in the center, and it is yellow on the outside, and it has white meat in the inside. It's pretty tasty. Just along the wall here, we have another cashew tree that is also flowering right now. You can see the flowers. And we'll get, I don't know, 50 fruit off of each tree. These are small right now, but there's a tree in my grandfather's property that has been there for at least 30 years, because I've seen it since I was a little kid, and it was already huge. So probably more like 50 years old. Right next to this cashew tree, we have a mango tree. In El Salvador, we don't really keep track of the varieties, which is kind of tricky because there's not a lot of cultivars that we know of. There's different types, but they have Salvadorian names, local names. So I wouldn't be able to tell you what type of mango it is, or at least until it fruits. This one doesn't have fruit yet. It's probably 2 years old. We put them in when we bought the properties 2 years ago. So we'll see what kind of mango we get out of this one. And then my dad also has this one right here. This is another mango right here. It's a small mango, but it's looking pretty healthy. I also got to say that we live in an area that is semi-arid. So during the summer here starts in October and it ends in May. And we don't get any rain during those months. So everything gets really dry, and we have to water these trees in order to keep them alive. So we have a cousin that takes care of our property, and he comes in and waters all of our trees. And my property is adjacent to my dad's here, and it's the one that is above here. And he has planted some fruit trees in my property. I've asked him to, and he's been kind enough to do it for me. And I plan to build my house here, my vacation house, so when I come to El Salvador, it can be here for me. The great thing about this is that we figured out who was the owner of this property before, because I grew up in the house that's right behind here. So my house, my childhood home, is right back here. Very special property to own, and very happy to have it. We hope to fill in this property with a lot more dirt, and I'm gonna plant as many tropical fruit trees as I can in it. I already have like 6 or so. I have a couple more down there. I have a couple mangoes on my side and a couple of the nance, and you can see back there I also have some bananas in my own little plot of land. But if you guys follow along the channel, maybe I'll keep making videos about this property and show you the progress. Things grow really fast here in the tropics, and if you give them water throughout the drought season, they grow even faster. So we're trying to supercharge this food forest. This is called a Pepeto. This tree here, at least that's what it's called here locally. And I think it's an ice cream pod. I think that's what it's called in the States. In Florida, I've seen it grown in Florida. And it's pretty tasty. It has a pod, and then you eat the little flesh around a seed, and it's pretty tasty. It's fleshy and it's soft, almost like marshmallow. That's what I would call it. You can also see all the corn stalks here. My cousin uses this property to grow some of his own corn, and in return he waters our plants. So he uses the property to grow some of his own food. And you can also see here he's growing some tomatoes. There's a lot of tomatoes on the ground here. These are like the leftovers because we are in full summer mode here. So there's not a ton left, but there's a few left in the plant. And these are the original tomatoes to the area. They are small, almost like a cherry. I have grown this back in the States as well, and they are pretty sour, so they are great for making salsa or pupusas. So this is where we cut the bananas, and my childhood home is right behind here. And we have built, or actually my dad has built, a little bridge to get across the fence. So we have this little bridge to get across the property, and then over to the other side. And right back there is the home that I grew up in, well, halfway. I moved in here in '99, and I lived in it for about 4 years before I moved to the United States with my parents. But We have this property here, kind of behind or next to the other property I just showed you. That's my grandma's chicken house. She has a lot of hens, a couple of roosters, and a couple of ducks. So here, we're behind the house that I grew up in. And I actually have a cool story about the next tree I'm going to show you. This tree right here is very special to my heart. I planted this tree with my grandma about 25 years ago. And it's called a jocote. And I've never seen it in any of the American stores. But it's this little thing here. And it's super tart when it's this young, but really sweet when it gets mature. So we eat them just like candy. Nice and tart. I'm gonna only show two more trees. I have a mango tree right here, and look at here. They are right here, and they are a bit green right now, but they'll be ripe in about 2 months. My dad is showing me a big old cluster right there. Check out those mangoes. They look great. And let me see if I find the ducks. There are the ducks. There's a couple back there, and they're kind of hidden. There's a few more back there. We also have a bunch of coconut trees here, and just recently they got cut down, so we don't have any on this tree. And you can see a couple more over there. Oh, right there. We have some coconuts up there, and my dad has one coconut here that we took down the other day, so we're gonna drink that later today. That rooster sings a lot. Okay, that's basically the tour because I am running out of battery. But I'll try to make another video about the other annual crops that my grandma's growing, because she has taught me a lot about growing tomatoes and some other fruits. So we're gonna say goodbye here and then see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed it.